But I'm glad you brought up Thomas
It's crazy.
Sowell because the whole Amanda Seals Jubilee thing has
Oh,
us all
Oh
talking about
wow.
Black conservatives, and it reminded me how much I hate Black conservatives. And you've talked about this a lot. Did you watch her video?
I refuse to click on the actual video to give it a view. But I do have a 3,339 word script written about it already. That I literally wrote yesterday about Black. I start with her Jubilee because like it's algorithmically useful in the moment. So this will probably come out Monday if I'm lucky. But I just go in on Black conservatives. I just go in. I find some comfort for them in the end because I do think let's start with a reverse criticism sandwich. It's probably just going to be meat and bread. I don't think I got two good things to say about Black conservatives, but there is a thing like the clips I've seen. There's one girl who you can see the sadness in her eyes, right? I think it's the one. I guess she lost her father to black on black crime. And you know she's trying to use that to rationalize, insert conservative talking points. But you can kind of see the sadness in her eyes. And having spent so much time engaging and studying Black conservatives for other content, what you'll find is that the average Black conservative. So first off, there's no such thing as a Black conservative in our current reality, right? There's two things. There's Black people with conservative like values and frameworks in that like Booker T. Washington thing. So like I would say Killer Mike is there, right? I just finished talking about Killer Mike. And so I would never, just like I try, like people were mad at me for not going in hard on Killer Mike. And I was like, I'm not gonna disrespect Mike because I disagree with his politics, because I do recognize, regardless of whether I have issues with him, he is for Black people. Booker T. Washington's political project was for Black people, even if it was something I politically see as wrong, right? And who am I to say that to Booker T. Washington, et cetera, et cetera. And then there's Coons. And 8 times out of 10, if there's 20 people on that show, I guarantee you no less than 15 are just outright Coons.
17. Yeah.
I'm trying to be nice. You know,
17. I watched the video.
Spot. You watched it? Okay.
I watched the video. I watched the entire video eating breakfast, and my TV almost didn't make it. Like I'm yelling at Amanda Seals. I'm yelling at this kid. This one kid was like, she said, well, race doesn't exist or it's a social construct or something. He's like, it's not biological. That's what she said. And the kid goes, of course it is. And I was like, I can't. How can you argue with someone who just doesn't agree with facts? I can't argue with someone that doesn't understand or agree with any type of facts. And you make perfect sense when you said that there's the Black traditionalists who look at themselves as conservative because they just want traditional values of Blackness that they were raised on and concepts of what it meant to be Black in America. And that might lean you in that way. And then everyone else just hates the idea of being Black. And they don't they don't want to say it out loud.
They're hoping to be picked to be the next Candace Owens or something else.
Exactly.
But low-key, Candace Owens, on the low, being on this side of the camera, is making sure she is never getting replaced. She is steadily out here knocking motherfuckers down out her spot.
I feel
so
like
funny.
Key things for them is we are not victims. Like I am not a victim, right? And them over there on the left, they are victims because they think that white people are their big problem. And I'm not a victim. And I see reality because I know that Black people are Black people's problem. That, right? That seemed to me to be the core.
That is their core thing. And that's like, it's so fucking stupid.
So dumb.
It's like stupid.
It's so dumb. It's like, you know what I love about the victim thing? It's like, did y'all watch The Lion King? You didn't watch Rafiki hit that nigga over the head and says, it doesn't matter. It's in the past. Get over it. If I go over there and punch you in your face and you go, why'd you punch me in the face? It's like, don't be a victim, bro.
Right. Free Rodney Hinson there. He was like, hey, I just have to run over the, whatever. Don't be a victim. Don't be a victim. Running over a police officer.
Wow. Rodney Hinton for real. I'm not a
exactly.
Y'all motherfuckers. You like it now? The desire to be seen as different than the other Negroes, right? And like Yes, and that exists within every oppressed group, right? And whereas there's women, we could say they are really trying to be for, and not just Pearl, but like there's women we know in our lives who are like more male centric, and the other women are like, that bitch, she's not a girl, she's not a girl's girl. And this is our shit of like, you're not down for us, and you're not. And see, you're saying there's not Black conservatives because there isn't a specific conservatism that is apart, like it's, you're saying it doesn't stand apart from conservatism. They say the same thing that white conservatives
So
say.
because it's a couple of things. A preview the certified preview before this video comes out on the B-sides. So the fact that this video exists. So I know Amanda Seales can be a controversial figure. She's got her critics, but I think this is a perfect venue for her, and she availed herself well for what this was, which is politically infused entertainment. Nobody learned anything. Nobody changed their minds. We all got rage baited, and that's what Jubilee does, right?
Yeah.
And so, but Black conservatives as a as like a talking point online and in media and on CNN, it's coming. We got probably 6 to 8 months before we start seeing on CNN, will Black men show up for the Democrats in 2028? And they're going to ignore that in 2026, in 2024, in 2022, in 2020. Black men, and going all the way back, Black men have voted the exact same way. Black people have never voted conservatives, because Black conservatives make up a fraction of the American electorate. If only 67%, 60 some odd percent of Americans vote, this probably goes down to 59 for Black people. Black people make up 13% of the population, and then 90% of us vote for Democrats. Look at how small of a number we're talking for the fact that they get constant media coverage. They get constant airways, and their viewers are never Black. They're rarely Black. If it's Black, it's the same level percentage. And if you look at those Black conservatives in Congress and the Senate, they don't represent Black districts. So this is all completely propped up. These Black conservatives are propped up by white supremacist right-wing figures so they can come out and say ignorant coon shit like they did. Y'all have to block out those words, by the way. They will, and they may not catch y'all, but YouTube knows my voice when I say that word. So they will demonetize this shit. Coon. Like they will demonetize.
Oh, they don't like that? They don't like that?
Don't. Not even when you say it.
I find quite often trying to talk to them becomes very difficult because they're not actually talking in a reasonable way. Like the example you had before when the conservative wanted to argue that race is a biological thing. I just offhandedly, I remember talking to Sher Michael at CNN in the green room, not before he even got on the air. And he made a comment about, well, some people think masculinity is toxic. And I'm like, no. When nobody is saying masculinity is toxic, there's a thing called toxic masculinity. And he seemed to reject that entire idea. And like, I refuse to believe. And I'm like, so you're not even arguing with reality. You're just, and they quite often are creating a straw man and arguing against that rather than talking about the actual issue.
Yeah. What I think you find with, and to be fair, this is all politically polarized people, right? This also happens on the left, and I consider myself much further left than the average person, and I still get it. And then there's people further left than me that swear I am the biggest Kamala Harris fan ever. So it doesn't have to exist in reality. It needs to exist as a venue for which I can reaffirm my own identity, right? Like so much of political ideology is actually personal identity. I am a leftist. I am a conservative. I am a registered Democrat. I am an independent free thinker. Like all these things is more about how do I engage with reality in a way that affirms who I think I am or who I want to be to the world versus like engaging with the realities I'm actually presented with. And so when you are arguing with anyone politically, but especially people as backwards thinking as Black conservatives, you're never going to have a real serious conversation. Now, the other clip I saw was that the kind of heavyset guy who you can tell he's just a troll. His thing is mostly, I just want to say anti-black shit in front of black people so that they treat me a
Mm-hmm.
certain way so I can point to them and say, see, they're judgmental, and try to get a rise out of people. You know, dudes that still arguing on Facebook in their 40s in 2025, you know, and older.
Yeah.
Like that's that energy. And it's not really about the argument or being right. It's this experience affirms something that I feel inside. And if I have to make other people suffer or be obnoxious to do so, or spread misinformation, so be it. That's the price of the game.
Value of being that person, like a Jeff Mead. I mean,
Validation.
Well, Candace gets a lot of money from it, but like, you know, the guy you're talking about here who's, you know, made subsequent TikTok. I remember him from TikTok before, and he's made subsequent to, I argued with Amanda, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, Jeff Mead is doing that. There's a bunch of people who love to come on and say some anti-black shit. And Rob is one of them, right? I don't even know his last name. Get the hate. What are they getting out of it? Because they're not, you know, Candace is getting money, but most of them are not getting any real amount of money for this.
Attention is it's validating, and then validation is everything to a human being in our society, especially
That's
because
high up there on the hierarchy of needs, you know.
Yeah, so that you're getting attention and validation, like that's what people want, especially in a place and time where we do not have community. There's no real community anymore. So when I'm getting validation from a bunch of clicks and likes and all that stuff, that's gonna make comments.
But then
positive comments gonna make me feel good.
You're known for hating on
black people. But that's the so there's another.
But you're known.
You're known. But also I've had to like slowly try to pull some people out of this. You know, almost like on some cult rehabilitation shit. And for a lot of them, again, going back to that one girl, there is also a deep in this. So the empathetic sandwich. Conservatives just all right. We roasted y'all for like the last 10 minutes. Let's just here for you for a second.
We'll talk to the black part of you now.
Yeah,
the conservative part.
The black part. Right. There's also a wound about being rejected from blackness. And for some people, that wound manifests just in kind of like some internalized anti-blackness and just wanting to distance themselves and feeling like they don't belong, so they're not going to show up, and they're private about it. But for others, there's a defiance that like, I rejected you. No, you rejected me. No, I rejected you. I ain't gonna tell you how you are. I'm gonna talk about black fathers not known.
You ain't even that fine anyways.
Right, exactly. That's the gist of it.
You think there is a personal wound that they were hurt by some black person somewhere?
So not just black person. So I take a second to talk about the little boy, I think you talked about, Green, who's from Angola and then grew up in Vermont, right? So here's this little boy, he's from Angola. So let's, without getting into the ADOS FBA nonsense, we have to recognize two things being true. One, being a black immigrant among black people is not an easy thing. The African booty scratcher joke has been around for 50 years, okay? Two, being a black immigrant does seem to, a lot of black immigrants do come here with a different sense of blackness that if it's not unlearned, it is very easy for them to create an us versus them framework of how they engage with the world. It's very easy. I know many black immigrant adults who will tell me outright, my parents would be like, no, you're not black, you're insert immigrant status here, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of there's a lot of ways that creates conflict. And then you take that black immigrant, and instead of him being in Atlanta or DC or Houston, he's in Vermont. And these crackers don't know he's an immigrant. They just see a nigga, right? And so they nigga him, and he goes home, and his parents don't have 50 years of tactics on how to engage with this. His parents just like going there, get
no tools.
No tools at all. And so the most useful tool for him to develop is anti-blackness. I'm not like them. I'm not even gonna get my hair cut good.
I don't even think
they indoctrinated him.
But I don't think they go so far as to experience the N-word, because everybody comes here knowing we're on the low end of the totem pole, right? Movies, TV, they've seen us be called the N-word. They understand, even on an emotional level, what systemic racism is. They understand when I come to America, Black people are on the low end, right? So I don't want to be on the low end. So I'm assimilating. I'm not being a black, right? So they don't even need
I'm not going to be a victim. If you call me, if you do some bullshit to me, I'm going to focus on how to fix myself. I'm not going to try to hold you accountable for your racist bullshit because I'm not a victim. See, everybody, I'm not a victim. And there's this, and so once they do that a little bit, let them get around some black people. There's some black people that's from here, and and we can smell. They be like, "Is there a coon? Is there a coon in here?"
Easily. And you could, and that's what Amanda Seales did right there live. She saw him talking and saying that race was not race was biological and all that, and she goes, "Where are your parents from?" She knew, you know what to ask. You know what to ask when you hear certain shit. It's like, where are you from?
Right.
It's like, oh. You there? Okay. And
to be generous, we've maybe refined that tool a little too much. We may have a little too much fun when we find the coons, getting them up out of here. Because what most, especially when they're as young as that one little boy, right? The older, like, grown dudes who've probably been doing this for halfway through their adulthood, I ain't got time for them. But a lot of these, like, younger folks who are first encountering blackness in undergrad and grad school and trying to make sense of it, it would be less detrimental long term for us to have a more refined process of some grace and be like, all right, look, I see exactly what's going on with you. Can we cocoon this one real quick and get them right? Because that's the opposite of what happened to Candace. Like, Candace is told her story multiple times. She was probably always low-key a sociopath, I'm gonna argue. But, her background is, very pro-black, and she came from this white background from immigrant parents. The NAACP actually was actually helped her family win money because of racial discrimination.
Where's her parents from? Where's her parents from?
She's, I think, Jamaican. I don't know.
Oh, like Caribbean or something like that.
Yeah,
I did not know any of this about her because I don't. I mean, why do I want to know shit about Candace Owens?
I definitely agree. So the deep lore is Candace Owens is from an immigrant family. She grew up in an all-white space, and like, she was the victim of, like, some serious bullying to the point where the NAACP got called and lawyers came in, and she won like $50,000 from the state for racial harassment and bullying as a teenager. And so nobody ever talked to her, I guess. And so she kind of became this, like, overly rabid liberal figure trying to make a name off being a liberal. People probably smelled a little off about her. She tried to do some weird doxing shit. And when she tried to do the weird doxing shit, liberals were like, this is weird doxing shit. So she said, well, you know what? Fucking Republicans don't have no morals. I can do whatever the fuck I want over there. And here we are, a good decade later. So if there was an intervention at an earlier point with maybe not a Candace Owens, but with that little boy from Angola, or that young lady who said she lost her father, right? If there's an intervention there that says, all right, look, here's what's going on, here's why you're wrong, and I'm not going to call you a coon or make fun of you.
Here's how you're being used. Like, you're being used by the system. And the system just really worked for you, because that's what it is. Like, when you said that, it's like you were talking about, like, they know what the experience of hearing nigga and stuff like that. It's like, you don't. Like, if you go outside of this country, they don't know what that word means. Like, I went to South Africa, and they have their own version of that word. And that you cannot say that at all over there, but they are saying nigga left and right and not understanding the gravity of it. And they'll be like, oh, and then I'll be like, well, that's just like, your K word is just like our N word. They're like, oh no, that's different. And I'm like, wait. We may have different results because of how the Black community in America has just how we used it. Because I don't want to say flat out a perspective on it, but how we used it. But we do not. It's not something different. People do not understand the gravity of the word at all. Mm. Even if you come over here when you're coming from a different perspective, you have to be living in Black American experience to understand, like, what that means.
How is Amanda in this piece? Because I haven't seen it.
So both of y'all ain't seen it.
From what I've seen, she's Amanda Seales. It's actually perfect. She really like. I know she's gotten. I mean, I don't know because like Amanda's a lot, right? From what I perceive, and I follow her. I'm a fan overall, but I also recognize that like her intensity around not just politics, but also like the way she's perceived feels like it's probably not going to play well in like Hollywood overall, especially if she wants to be an actress and like, you know, engage in stuff. There's a lot of stories about her just falling out with people and not get along with people.
Yep.
But that same abrasiveness and intensity in a debate space for the internet is actually, she's missing her.
Entertaining.
It's perfect. It's like the way that people.
Let's take one step back, because Jubilee, as we've already noted, is performative debate, and it's kind of like when you get a wrestler wrestling against a bunch of kids, or a grown male wrestling against a bunch of women who are clearly not as strong as him, you know, or like little kids, right? Like it becomes so easy if you've read 3 books to kick them over, and everybody intellectually does. So I mean, if you're up there with like intellectual peers who can actually stand on their own 2 feet, then, you know, I mean, then we have a debate, then we have a conversation. But like
Jubilee is like the Shade Room meets Ricky Lake. It just doesn't make any sense.
Mostly for white people, though. Well, I guess
Ricky Lake. That's what I said. The Shade Room is just like the complete and utter no care of like, we're just going to say this shit and put this shit out there, even though it's going to be detrimental to a whole people. It doesn't even matter. Let's put it out there. And the Ricky Lake thing is how she would just like, or Geraldo or something was like, we have 3 KKK members and the NAACP talk. It's like, and they just let's see what happens.
It's cockfighting. It's
exactly.
You know, and the thing that I think people are understanding now that online debate as it tends to exist is spectator sports, it's blood sports, it's kayfabe wrestling. But there are people who swear to God that it's like real intellectual, whatever. And there are intellectual like conversations that happen between people who don't agree, but those don't do Jubilee numbers. Jubilee does those numbers because they're doing, you know, debate porn. You know what I'm saying? It's one smart person versus 20 idiots. Every once in a while, it's one idiot versus the 20 halfway smart people. Because that Jordan Peterson one was probably the first one where the person in the middle came out looking
like an idiot.
Like an idiot.
Well, they let Dean Winters and one of his, not Harry, but one of his like cohorts on there. And Dean is one of the smarter and realist debate people that have ever been on that show, which is a very low bar. But he like he could sit in the other, and I believe he did do one where he sat in the other seat and debated 20 morons. I mean, 20 conservatives. So I mean, like the casting in there must be very interesting, because it's like, you know, you could work for Jake Paul picking his fights, or you could work for Jubilee picking who they're gonna have in the Surrounded.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Like, so we got to make sure that Amanda wins. So make sure we.
How do we get the biggest clown show?
You should know. I'm saying you should know. We should all know that this is complete bullshit just by the titles. Like they have these clickbait Mr. Beast porno titles. It's not like it doesn't like
it is derivative of 2 girls 1 cup. That's all. That is literally the framing they're using.
That's all they're using to make to make people click on it.
They should have Surrounded where they all have balloons and they say their idea, and then you pop your balloon if you believe or disbelieve the idea. So we're just
pop the balloon debate
together. I wasn't so down on Jubilee when they did Slop, right? Like if they just did Slop, like I don't like the balloon popping relationship.
Which
videos.
one was Slop?
Oh, they've been around for a while and they've been doing Slop forever. It's really just recently with this format, at least, and maybe it might be us as people who are politically inclined and intellectuals. We're just starting to pay attention to Jubilee, but as also a slop connoisseur, Jubilee's been around forever doing stuff like, you know, rank the hottest chick. You know what I'm saying? My favorite one is the one they would have like 3 people in like full spandex costumes. And it's like, which one of these people is black? And they would have to answer questions.
Like, Can you find the black person? Can you find the gay person?
So slop like that, I'm fine with.
They kind of spearhead out of that.
Yeah. Well, when they put 20 black conservatives to go circle back to where I started at. Just the idea that they found 20 Black conservatives means that they're overrepresenting that population by like 500%. You know what I'm saying? Like they are overrepresented in our media so much, and it's very frustrating because, and it's all is for a white appetite. It's for a white appetite of white conservatives, and it's for a white appetite of white liberals. And then like we watch it because we love seeing coons get beat down. We gotta face that as well. That's why I haven't watched it, because I know if I watch it, I'm gonna love and hate it. But you know, it's capitalism in our media, really.
So
I'ma get pumped.